The question is that the motion be agreed. The Honourable Brian Walker.
Thank you, Deputy President. I have listened with some concern over some months as to what is going on, and I have to say that I don't know what's going on because I haven't been informed properly, and therefore I can't take an opinion either way. If that is true for myself, it's probably also true for the people of Western Australia. And I think if we're looking at democracy, we ought to be involving every voice in this. I have lived and worked in the regions. I have travelled to the Kimberley, the Pilbara, worked in both those areas, Halls Creek, Fitzroy Crossing, Derby, Broome, Newman, as well as out in the Wheat Belt, where I resided for some considerable time. I am quite familiar with the issues surrounding the regions and how they are represented, or indeed not represented, as the case may be. The feeling in the regions where I was is that they are remote from Perth. They are not listened to. I'll cite as an example a psychiatric facility erected in Broome for the quite major Indigenous mental health problems. Now, it was built, a very beautiful centre. It was built perfectly. It was constructed elegantly, but it was designed based on statistics referring to Perth metropolitan psychiatric need. Completely inappropriate for the needs of the Kimberley. Completely inappropriate. Not fit for purpose, but designed by well-meaning people in Perth. Were we in the Kimberley best served? How do we know how to serve the people in the Kimberley if we don't have representatives there who can cast an eye on what is happening? We're having blindness. The blind people leading those who have vision but who have no voice. This is not tenable. We have a system just now which has brought results which were surprising. I think we can deal with that. I think we need to speak about it. We need to look at that with an open eye, clearly, unbiased, unprejudiced. A few days ago I gave some words about the fundamental principles by which we need to abide. Every member here is passionate. If not, you shouldn't be here. Every member here is committed to serving the people who elected them and also to being a good member of the party which has supported them for all the help they have given. We recognise this. No imputation of any kind should be made against any sitting member or party. We all have our views, our biases. But because we have our biases, we also need to have an open mind to the other point of view. This entrenched vision needs to be stopped. This is one reason why that study in the ABC showed how much people despise politicians, myself included, despise us for what goes on in the public eye. We need to stand up. We need to make changes. When we're talking about electoral reform of the population, we need to also consider reforming how we behave. Because quite plainly, it does not match the needs of the Australian people. And this will be a word I give to myself as well as to my honoured and respected colleagues. Now, it can also be said that our need to consider reform is genuine. We have a genuine need. I would like very much to look at how things are going on. But I also would ask that this is not held behind closed doors initially, but is put out to everyone to have a voice. It is very clear that there needs to be a different approach to how we manage legislation. We have a House that is unmentionable for very good reason, and we have this House of review. It is a different purpose. While we might have the individual members in the other place representing their smaller populations, here we need to look at that with a clear eye from a different perspective to look at what is right. And that is not actually, I think, a party political perspective, but a perspective of a clear, open-minded, unbiased eye perceiving what is needed and what is not needed. We need to deal with honesty and integrity. We need to look at our basic policies, our own approach to what is right. We need to actually set the standard for this nation, if you like. And by casting blame, by forcing things through by sheer force of might, as is possible, does not serve the people of Western Australia. And I would ask that we bear this in mind in our deliberations over the coming weeks and months.